So, hi everyone. This is House of Accountants, and we are taking advanced audit and assurance. Advanced audits and assurance. So, my name remains Olashere James. Okay, so I will just explain this briefly before we go into the main things we have to do tonight. Like I said, for you to pass advanced audit for Ican, all you have to do is to study and understand the topics, and that is why you attend Ican lectures. So once you understand each topic, at least you have idea for each of these topics. What you have to do next is to start practicing questions, because the way they frame the question is different from the way other questions will come. Other questions or other papers will come straight to you in a direct form. Calculations, you know what to do about the calculations. When they are asking you about the theory, you know what to do. But advanced audits is a bit cunning and tricky, which you really need to study past questions and know the pattern they normally use in setting those questions. So we'll be treating that later after each of the topics. Now, today I want to look at the meaning of audit and assurance. What does it mean? He said this topic provides a bridge from the skills level audit and assurance paper of the professional level paper. This topic reminds the students of the core competence underlying audit and assurance. So what we're saying is that this is an advance. It's different from normal audit and assurance you have in skills level. So in this advanced audit, they won't be asking you what is audits, what is an assurance, what is a document, what is an accountant, or who is an auditor. They won't be asking such a question from you. So the type of question they'll be asking you in this case is going to be in a case scenario. They will give you a brief case, a brief scenario, and from there, they will give you hints on what to do or what they're expecting you to do. So if you don't actually understand that topic, or you don't understand that scenario, you won't be able to decode it. So ability to decode the question, to decode the scenario, and know what they want you to do, that is what will help you to attend the lectures, have the understanding of it, and then to practice questions. Now, audit can be defined as an independent examination of an expression of opinion on the financial statement. Independent, that is, it's not under duress. Nobody is controlling the auditor. He has the independence, and he has done the independent examination. And after the examination, he expressed his opinion, not on any other thing, but on the financial statement. So that's why when we are talking about auditor here, or audit here, we are talking about external auditors, not internal. But when we get to a point under this course that refers to internal auditors, they are going to tell you. But when you are talking about the audits and assurance in general, it's talking about external auditors. But there are some points that also talk about internal audits, but not on what you are doing now. Now, to express opinion on financial statement. What are the financial statements you're talking about? The financial position, income statement, cash flow, changes in equities. That is what they express their opinion if it gives true and fair of an expressed by an appointed auditor. Auditor must be appointed before he can act as an auditor in accordance with the terms of his engagement and in compliance with statutory obligation. Because there is a statutory obligation, there is legal or law that guides auditor on what to do on financial statements. We have standard, we have Finance Act on what to do, what are the disallowed expenses, what are the rates for the income tax. So we have CAMA 2020. So there are so many statutory obligations that guides the auditors on what to do and how to audit each financial statement they handle and any other professional requirements. So we are going to be looking at that when we get there. What are the objectives? The objective or purpose of audit is to fold primary and secondary. It's into two folds, primary purpose and secondary purpose. The primary objective is to provide financial statements users with an opinion by the auditor on whether the statements are presented fairly in all material respects. That is, in materiality, you look at it. Can this, what I'm seeing here, can it change the decision of the users? So in all material respects, in a manner that conforms to an applicable financial reporting framework. Because there is a framework, there is standard, there is law and regulations that auditor must follow in a way that follows that framework. In fact, the fundamental purpose of the audit is to provide independent assurance that management has in its financial statements presented a truth and fair view of the company performance. While the secondary objective is to provide other services. The main objective is to give the opinion whether the financial statement give true and fair. While the secondary purpose is to provide other services like taxation, insolvency, management consultancy, financial advisory services, investigation, forensic, and all the like. Now, note, international standard on audit 200 is relevant to the objective of audit. So, objective of audit is ISA 200, which we're talking about the objectives. Now, audit-related services. What are the audit-related services? Audit-related services are engagement undertaken by an accountant or a firm of accountants to perform such assignments. And what are the audit-related? They are not audits per se, but they are related to audits. First one is reviews of data. Maybe you need information or your accountant has just completed a particular task, and you want a firm of chartered accountant to review if the data or analysis are in line. So you can also engage a firm of chartered accountant, agreed upon procedures. That is, both of you agree, this is what I want you to do. This is the objective. This is the scope of work of audit or audit related services I want you to do. Come and do the internal control for me within 2 or 3 months. And when this is what I want to see, prevent this staff from stealing my money, or prevent them from sales, or the costs, reduce costs. They will give us agreed upon. So there's laid down procedure you have to follow. Then compilations. Maybe they have information that they want you to help them. That also can be done by firms of chartered accountant. So a review provides a low or moderate level of assurance that information under review is free from any material misstatements. That's just the purpose. Review what this person has done and tell us if it's free from error. Then agree upon procedures are adopted in an engagement where the party hiring the accountant specifies the procedure that should be followed by the accountant in performing the engagement. Then the compilation, like I explained, with the compilation, the accountant is engaged to prepare information for the client. So they gather, they give you their documents, then you compile it for them. Audit or check the information prepared by someone else. For example, a firm of chartered accountant may be asked by a client to prepare a tax computation. So to prepare a tax computation, you need financial statements, you need documents, you need payroll, you need all this. You gather everything together. You need their fixed asset register. You compile them together and then do the computation you are asked to do. Assurance engagement. An assurance engagement means an engagement in which a practitioner expresses a conclusion designed to enhance the degree of confidence of intended users other than the responsible party about the outcome of the evaluation. So in this case, so assurance engagement will give a level of confidence to the users. So when you say assurance engagement, it means you are giving, even if it is not absolute correct, at least it must be free from material error. You understand? So it may not be absolute, it may not be 100% correct, but at least very, very minimal. So when you get to materiality, we'll talk more about that. Now, objectives of an assurance engagement is for professional accountant to evaluate or measure a subject matter that is the responsibility of another party against identified suitable criteria. Okay, so assurance engagements include any of the following: engagement to report on a broad range of subject matter covering financial and non-financial information, engagement intended to provide high or moderate level of assurance. Then attest and direct reporting engagement, the practitioner directly performing the evaluation. When you are performing evaluation, there are so many engagements relating to risk assessment. It can be system reliability, So what is the level of reliance on this system, on this computer, on this IT? If anything happens, is there any backup? So you do the assurance engagement on that. Then also the private and public sector also do that, report internally and externally. They can just give you an engagement, come and evaluate our company. How strong is the internal control? Is there any weakness in this internal control? What should we do to make sure that the internal control is all right, it's okay? So you can do the engagement on that and you give the assurance to the management. Other engagement performed by professional accountants that are not assurance engagements include agreed upon procedure, because it cannot be assurance here because they are giving you what to do. It's agreed upon. This is what they want to achieve, and they give you the laid down procedures which you must follow. Then the compilation of financial statements and other information, you are compiling them together. So it depends on the document or availability of information. If the information is not available for you, you may not be getting the total information you're supposed to present. So therefore, this might not be the, the, the assurance you are expected. Then preparation of tax return when no conclusion is expressed, and consulting other advisory services might not be the engagement, assurance engagement. Now, in an assurance engagement, a practitioner, there are three parties that are involved. The first one is engagement by one party to give an opinion and on a piece of information that has been prepared by another party. What do we mean? What we are saying is this. When you are talking about assurance engagement, there are three things you have to do here. The engagement by one party to give an opinion, and after giving your opinion on a piece of information that has been prepared by another person, an accountant prepared in financial statements, and you now engaged to evaluate it, to see what he has done, to test the assurance on it. And after you have done your own part, you give your own opinion, if it is true and fair or not. Okay, the opinion is an expression of assurance or comfort about the information that has been revealed. So all this can be digested. You can digest it on your own as we move on with all this one. Okay, so let me look at this. A statutory audit is one form of assurance engagement. The shareholders of a company do not accept without question that the information provided in the financial statement by the management of the company is sufficiently accurate and reliable. That is what they are looking for. They want to know if the financial statement is accurate and reliable for other investors to come in. Then the statutory audit provides assurance about the quality of information. So after the management prepare the financial statement, that is what they do. Accountant is also part of the management. So the management prepared the financial statement, then the external person, the statutory person, now come as to perform the statutory audit to make sure the quality, to check the quality of information given by the management, if it is accurate and free from error. This makes the financial statement more reliable for the users as credibility is added to the statement by the expressed opinion of the auditor. So once the auditor signs that financial statement, it gives the users, it gives them confidence, credibility that what the auditor has signed must have been 100% checked and verified. That's why we have auditor's liability. In a case where the auditor did not carry out his own job properly and there is error in that financial statement. When I say error, I mean materiality in that financial statement. And the users go ahead to make use of that financial statement or rely on that statement, then it becomes liability to the auditor. So that's why they rely on that information given by an auditor. And that's why you can see if you want to get a loan, a company wants to get a loan from bank, the bank will ask for financial statement, audited financial statement, because they know that before you can get that, because they know before auditor will sign and say, yes, this one is right, they know that they must have done the audit properly. Okay, so let's go on with that. Because of the amount of work carried out, an auditor or a statutory audit provide a high reasonable level of assurance. Other assurance engagement will provide a lower limited of assurance or a comfort to the person receiving the opinion. The level of assurance given by other assurance engagement will depend on various factors. Okay, so they said that you only give the reasonable, not a complete, not absolute, but going to give reasonable and not absolute. Okay, so we continue from elements of an assurance engagement. So what are the elements of assurance engagement? An assurance engagement performed by a practitioner will consist of the following 5 elements. So it must have the following elements. The first element is that a 3-party relationship. 3-party relationship must be involved in assurance engagement. The first one is a practitioner, responsible party, and then intended users. The practitioner would be the accountant or the auditor, name you want to call him. Then the responsible party is the client, while the intended users, they are the investors who want to make use of the financial statement. So in this case now, the second element is subject matter. Then suitable criteria, sufficient and appropriate evidence, and assurance report. So assurance report will be the last one you are going to have. You are going to report your opinion if it gives true of unfair or few after that. So the 3-party relationship must be involved. The professional accountant provides assurance to the intended users about the subject matter, that the responsibility of another party. A responsible party and intended user may be within the same organization or in different organizations. For example, the managing director may seek assurance about information provided by a component of that organization. Okay, so we know the professional accountant already. So These are persons who are member of IFAC, member body, that is Ican, whether in public practice or industry or education or public sector. You must be a chartered accountant. That's what that place is saying. Then who has a license to practice. Then responsible party is a person or individual or representative of an entity. This might be the accountant, financial controller. Management is also responsible, internal control, and the like. Then intended user may be the investors, class of person to whom the request will be addressed for their specific use, and so on. Then the subject matter of an assurance engagement may take many forms at a point in time or over a period of time. So with data, historical, we have prospective financial information when you are trying to estimate the future. That's prospective. Forecasting and using the estimation. Then statistical information, performance indicator, and so on like that. And it may be system and process audits. It may be behavior, that is uh, uh, personnel audit or staff audits. You can also do all this. So this is just a brief about audit and assurance. So after all this one, you have your sufficient and appropriate evidence. The process of obtaining sufficient and appropriate evidence involves the professional accounts and those who engage in agreeing to the terms of the engagement. So in this one, you have all the evidence you need to gather, maybe the documents or so you must have sufficient evidence for you to say, yes, this financial statement is true and fair. It's free from errors. It's free from material error. Don't forget, not completely, not absolute, but a reasonable assurance, not absolute assurance. Nobody can give absolute assurance. You can only give reasonable assurance that at least is free from error, material error, not complete error. Now, audit or assurance report. The professional accountant expresses a conclusion that provides a level of assurance as to whether the subject matter conforms in material respects with the identified suitable criteria. In the theory, it is possible to provide a range of assurance from very low level of assurance, moderate assurance, high level of assurance, and absolute of assurance. But in practice, absolute level of assurance is generally not attainable. You cannot get absolute assurance as a result of sampling, because you cannot audit the whole financial statement. You cannot audit 100% on sales, 100% on expenses, 100% on the assets, 100%, and vouch one invoice after the other, one voucher, payment voucher after the other, one asset, one after the other. Is not absolutely possible. As a result of sampling inherits limitation in control, the use of judgment, the nature, timing, and extent of procedures, lack of precision, often associated with the subject matter. So this is just an introduction to advanced audits, advanced audit and assurance. There's nothing much in that. All we just want you to know is to study audits. Just try to understand the topic. Then after that, the next thing you need to do, like this topic now, look for past questions and see how they frame the question, how they set question under audit and assurance. See what are the likely questions they can, how can they put scenarios together? You know, I told you they will not be asking you what is audit, what is assurance, but they are going to put in case in a way of scenario. So look at it. How can they form this question? How can they form scenario? And by the time you start seeing questions, you start having the idea of how the question will look like. Audit is tricky and it's simple if you get the code. So thank you very much. This is House of Accountant, and our revision class will also look at the other aspect of it. So I wish you good luck and make sure the reading is 100% now. No more playing or sleeping. You have to wake up now and start reading. Okay, so thank you very much. And that will be a brief introduction of audits and assurance, advanced audits and assurance.